Hello and welcome to Creative Marketing TV. My name is Susan Joy Schlief, and I'm the founder and host of Creative Marketing TV. Today I have three exciting guests. I hope. One of them has not shown up yet, so I don't know if she's having technical challenges, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully she'll join us later. We're going to talk today about building an online course and the different kinds of platforms that you can use for that. A course is a great content marketing tool to use to build your audience and to get your message out and to get people interested in what you have to teach. They can, of course, range from a short introductory course that you might even offer for free to a longer course that people would pay for, either to study on their own, or maybe you have some sessions live with you. There are lots of different ways to create a course and deliver a course. So my guests today have a variety of platforms that they've worked with. And if there's time, I may pitch in with a little bit of what I've done as well. I have a background in education, so courses are of great interest to me. And it's always something I'm looking at from the perspective of what can I bring from classroom training and from self-study training in the workplace and translate that into an internet-based program. So I'm happy to have with me today Fran Piggott, who's here from well, she's not here, but she's talking to us from South Africa, and Georgia Lee London, who's talking to us from Maryland, and hopefully Sue Massimo will join us shortly. So Fran, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, unmute yourself, and tell us a little bit about you?
Well, I'm Fran Piggott, and first of all, thank you for the invitation, Susan. I'm from Durban, South Africa, and I'm known as the marketing guru. I'm a marketing consultant, strategist, tactician, you name it. As long as it's marketing, I do it. I work with clients. I help them build their marketing strategies. I have been in marketing for many, many years. In fact, I started as a little sales consultant with my little briefcase, working myself up in the corporate world to become the new business development manager. And then I was asked to open a branch in Kenya. And after 2 years, I decided I quite liked it there. So I'd actually bought the business from them. And I started with no money, no members, no nothing. And I built over 7 years into a business that was 34,000 members. So it was a lot of fun. So I know what it's like to actually have nothing and to build a substantial business, and came back to South Africa once it was sold. And basically just helping companies. And I've helped over 200 companies so far in Natal, small business solopreneurs, to build their businesses. With only 2 failures out of that lot, both franchises. And yes, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. And now I'm more or less semi-retired. And that's why I'm very keen on these online courses, because now I'm sharing my knowledge and experience and expertise. As long as it's marketing and sales, I will be a speaker, and I've got quite a few courses. So I've been trying out the various platforms. So I've now settled on one that I do like. Great. That's me. And I breathe oxygen into your business or your marketing.
Thank you, Fran. Georgia, let us know about your business and about you.
Hey there, everybody. It's really interesting that all three of us are like in blues and purples today. And purple always like reminds me of like this is a spiritual color. And I help spiritual entrepreneurs inspire them actually to daring adventures and success. So that's my little tagline. And really what I do is help people find out who they really are in this moment right now. Because I find that, my business is called Be Boldly Brilliant Breakthroughs. And I find the breakthroughs are about whatever's getting in the way, right? Whatever's getting in your way at that moment. And maybe that's you're not doing enough marketing and you need help with your marketing, or maybe it's you need help with doing videos, or maybe you need help with doing Facebook Live, or maybe you need help in growing your list or growing your community. But whatever it might be that's holding you back, that's really stopping you, it's usually something a little bit deeper. And being a recovering psychologist myself, I think I can help people go a little deeper in that. I spent many years and retired actually from the Department of Psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, where I worked in addiction recovery. And what I learned doing clinical research is that each research project was really a new business. So I have a lot of experience in startups, right? So I like to help women who are nearing retirement or who've just retired. I help them start up the business that they've always dreamed of doing. And that's what I'm doing right now. Our focus is on Facebook Live. We just recently did a 5-day Rock Your Facebook Live challenge, which was very successful. And I really enjoyed that. So right now, this month, I'm helping people with Facebook Live. I love the topic of courses that you chose, Susan, because courses, to me, that's my business, right? That is really creating courses is my business, and being able to share that with people has been a real joy. So I see that our other Dr. Sue has joined us. So I'm going to finish up right there and turn it back over to you, Susan.
Great. Thank you, Georgia. And welcome, Sue Massimo. Good to have you here. I was getting a little worried about you.
Yes, technology. Since the hurricane, I was out power and internet for 5 days, and my computer just wants to turn off when it wants to. And then,
well, you're here, and it's your turn to introduce yourself.
I have that Era app again, so let me
just
click this on.
Yeah.
Am I live?
You are.
Okay. So, what was your question again?
Just go ahead and let us know who you are and where you are and what you do.
Okay, I'm Dr. Sue Massimo, and I'm a sports psychology consultant and a mental game coach. So I primarily work with young gymnasts. I was a gymnastics coach myself and a gymnast myself. So I'm just working with those young girls and bringing in their parents and their coaches into the type of coaching that I'm doing.
Great. And you're in North Carolina, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned the hurricane. People might want to know which one you were affected by. So
both of them actually, but not like Florida.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Glad you're safe. Okay. So thank you, everybody. And oops, I don't know why I'm muting myself. That's not a good idea. All right. So would any of you like to go first in doing a longer round about your experience with training? If not, Sue, you're unmuted. Do you want to go ahead?
I'm happy to go.
All right. We'll give Sue a little bit more time to get adjusted then. All right. So Georgia, let us know. By the way, I thought your challenge, your Facebook Live challenge was very good. And you had a lot of participation, I know.
Yeah, we did. Thank you. So the topic, I said that courses is really my business. And what I meant by that is I have a Facebook group that we just mentioned, the Be Boldly Brilliant Facebook group, which is where we did the 5-day Rock Your Facebook Live challenge. And from that, that was sort of my marketing, right, towards selling a course. And the course was called Facebook Live Secret Sauce. And the course was fabulous. We just finished it. It was a 4-week course. We had 24 people who signed up. And, it was just such a joy to be with people and work with them, not only in a big groups. I had them in 3 different groups of 8, and we worked in a small group setting. And one of the things I'm finding that I really, really like about coursework is that it seems to have been in vogue that you do videos, right? That you have a 8 series of videos and it's evergreen. And I think there's really a place for that. But I think also that people have gotten bored with that. And what I'm finding in this last year is that when I sell a program that's live and experiential, and you're really connected with people, I use Zoom as my broadcast platform for the courses. And people love that interaction. They love being live. They love that it's also recorded because, things come up in life and that people can't make every class. So I have found that that has worked really, really well for me this year, having live courses and keeping them shorter, so that I have, as I said, was a 4-week course. We met twice a week, so there were 8 classes, but it was all done in 4 weeks. And the people that were in that class, oh my gosh, I have seen such incredible growth from them, and see them out there doing Facebook Lives and marketing their business. And I'm getting great feedback from them about how many clients they've attracted, how they've grown either created a community and are growing that community. There's an interior designer in the course, and she says she doubled her business in just the last 2 weeks from what she had made the month previous. So you can have a real success from just a short 4-week course with your clients. And I think for me, that's what's ultimately important, is that, that people don't pay for a course and then don't show up. I really, I hate that. Or people pay for a course and it's one of these, 12 videos, and then they never look at it, right? It becomes shelf help rather than actually taking the course. And I think for us as course creators, creating a course that people really want to be a part of, that they really want to get the information that you have to share and put it into action, to actually give it as a gift, right, to the world, rather than just shelf help. And, you asked us to talk a little bit about what platforms we use. So I've been using this year Thinkific. That's Think, IFIC, Thinkific. And I enjoyed Thinkific, all of the platforms. And I've tried Rizuko, I've tried Teachable, I've done other platforms, and, there's good and bad to all of them. There's advantages and disadvantages to each and every one. With Thinkific, you've got everything there. You've got an affiliate program, because I used a lot of affiliates. I had 5 speakers doing the Facebook Live challenge, and all 5 speakers were affiliates. I had 5 non-speaking affiliates who let me come into their Facebook group and broadcast about my 5-day challenge and about my Facebook Live secret sauce course. And so those people were also affiliates. So I think getting affiliates active in your promoting your courses is key. I think that's why we had so much success in filling this course. I was expecting 8 people and I ended up having 24, so 3 groups of 8. So I set my bar too low that time. But I think that big lift to my course was really because of the affiliates. So I think that's a real key issue, that get people involved. Use Messenger to let people know about your course. And I'm not talking about bots. I think it's great. People who use those, it's fine for them. For me, I like the more personal approach. In fact, I always say to people, I private message them and I say, I'm not a bot. I'm a real live person. And I really want to invite you to this 5-day challenge, or I really think you would get great value out of the Facebook Live Secret Sauce course. Right. And I know a lot of the 24 people that signed up for my course did so because I privately messaged them and invited them. And I think that's also a big key factor in selling your course.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's a great tool to use, and the affiliates too. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. And then the other thing is I use, Facebook also in collaboration with Thinkific. And what I mean by that is I create a Facebook group for my courses, as well as a Thinkific course. And the reason I do that is that people just find it so easy. Remember, 1.4 billion people are on Facebook. So I guarantee you, your ideal audience is there on Facebook somewhere. And one of the things I do in the Facebook Live Secret Sauce course is help people find out where your clients truly are, right? Because it doesn't take, you don't need a lot of people. You can have maybe 200 people, or 100 to 200 people in your Facebook group, in your Facebook community, and you can still have a viable business and sell to those 100 to 200 people. It's that you need the right 100 to 200 people. You need the people who are really the people who want what you have to offer. And so I think that's another key point. So I use Facebook Live in conjunction because everyone's there. right? They're there every day. The average American spends at least 40 minutes on Facebook a day. And they find it so easy to click on the group, Facebook Live Secret Sauce, the course, right? So they go into there, and Facebook now has what they call social learning groups. So for example, the course Facebook Live Secret Sauce, I created a Facebook group that was secret, so no one else can get in there and see the coursework or access the materials other than the people in the group. And I made it a social learning group. So everything, all the videos, all the content, everything that I offered in the course is right there in the Facebook group, and it's very easy for them to access. I also do it in Thinkific as sort of a backup, because we never know, Facebook is not our real estate. We never know what's going to happen with Facebook. In these political days, I could see Facebook being shut down, right, for some silly reason or some reason of whatever. And, people are actually concerned about that. So I always like to have not only my materials, my content materials for my courses on my own laptop, but also on in Thinkific and then on Facebook too. So I guess it's from my old photographer days. They always said, keep your content, your photographs in 3 different places. So I keep all my coursework in 3 different places so that I know if something goes wrong or something happens, I have it, because we spend a lot of time on our courses and, we don't want to lose that. And so I think there's ways also, the content we create for our courses, to repurpose it. And that'll be my last thing that I'll say, so I don't take up too much time here, that whatever course you create, repurpose it, right? Repurpose it down the road. So like the 4-week course, I'm going to turn into a one-time course. I'm going to call it Facebook Live Secret Sauce one day, right? So in one day, I will give them that whole 4-week course in a 4-hour day, right? And so I can sell that for the same price that I sold the 4-week course. Now, I won't do that till like January, but I will do it, because I'll give a couple of months leeway, and then I'll do it in January. So that's one way to repurpose it. And then, of course, all of the content in the course you can repurpose in a multitude of ways. And also, I guess the last thing I'll say is that I work towards creating a course every month, so that I have now a repertoire of 12 courses, social media made easy, Facebook Live, the secret sauce, whatever the course is. Self-care is one of the courses. And so I just rotate those courses each month. And that way new people come in, and people who love it are reminded, oh yeah, I have that course, and they can go back. And I put a 6-month limit into the Facebook group, because I feel like if people haven't accessed the information within 6 months, they're not really going to. So I make sure people know that the material is available for 6 months, but 6 months only. And that's it.
You're making those courses available to all the people in your group?
Yes. So in the Facebook group, the courses are really for my membership program. So I have a Be Boldly Brilliant membership program. So it's a mentoring group. And that's a monthly fee that people pay. And that's a lot less actually than paying for an individual course. Because if you pay the $49 a month, you get a course that I'm selling for $297, right? So it's a big benefit to belong to the membership program.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so those 12 courses are for the membership, but I also sell them, not all of them, but quarterly I'll sell a different program at the $297 rate. Yeah.
That's a good idea. Okay, well, thank you so much, Georgia.
You're welcome.
I'm getting a little bit of feedback too, so I don't know what that is. I don't know if the rest of you are hearing it. Okay, so I just want to mention, it looks like we have a couple people watching. If you do want to ask a question of any of our guests, please go ahead and type it in the chat, or if you just have a comment. I'm checking periodically. I can't see that chat here from the Hangout window, but I will check periodically to see if there are any comments or questions. So, Fran, do you want to go next? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, Susan, I'll be fine.
Excuse me, Sue, it looks like you are not muted. Can you go ahead and mute your mic? Thank you. Yes, Fran, go ahead.
Okay. Basically, with online learning having exploded into a multi-billion-dollar industry, I think the whole marketplace is telling us that this is where we need to be, sharing our knowledge and expertise, and whether you're going to do it live or whether you're going to do it with videos or whatever, I think time has had an impact on this. Time is so short for everybody that they want to do it in their own time, at their own pace, and I think that is why it's become so popular. I'll just talk about the three models that I've used and I've experienced, and I'll give you the pros and cons, seeing that we're talking about platforms. The first one is the great one, Udemy, which I went on for the first time when I first started my courses. And let's look at the pros. The pros, it's free. It's very user-friendly. You have a fast learning curve there. They market your course. They view you can see the learner progress. You can see also who is actually taking the course and who isn't. So you can private message them in case, just to sort of motivate them to sort of take it. And they collect your payments and so on. Now the cons of that, and also I now use them as a super lead generator. And the reason for that is that, quite frankly, I find that what really irritated me about Udemy was the devaluation of my intellectual property. And I actually did some sums, and I've got 644 students on my marketing course, of which I've actually in 5 years only earned $6,434. But had it been sold at the price that I had set, I would have earned $30,268. And that made me think, what is Udemy's business model? And quite frankly, it's a marketing model. So they want as many courses as they can, and then they want to actually gain learners, students. So they're now sitting at about 5 million plus students, and you've only got to do your maths that every month they put out these courses, your courses going out for $10 at a time. And even if it was a 2% conversion, they are still making on 5 million people probably $1 million a month or more. So that is their model. It's a marketing model. So they really want as many courses as they possibly can. The other thing I found out was that you don't actually own the course, nor do you own the learners. They don't actually, they'll come down heavily on you if you try and bring them somewhere else or advertise other courses that you're doing, excuse me, elsewhere. And even if you have one person on that course, you can't take it down. So they won't let you remove it. They also keep changing the instructor's share price. So, your share, the sharing of the revenue. So I decided, well, actually, I needed to look at something else. And that's when I moved across to Teachable. That's your paid platform. So on the one hand, we've got the free platform and who does the marketing. Then you go to your paid platform, which was Fedora. And then what happened there with Fedora, that became Teachable, because I think they had a bit of a fallout with the partners. And I just happened to be in the middle of all of that, unfortunately. And again, it's a paid course. So in other words, a lot of these other ones where they just have a platform and you can put up the courses, and I think they're really, really good for people who just want to start out. That's the way I would suggest people go. In the first place, is find one of those that you have. I think Thinkific is free, and then you can upgrade and then start paying, and then of course you get more facilities and features that they do. Again, it's very user-friendly, fast learning curve. You can still see the viewer learner progress. They all have affiliate programs in them. And then, of course, you're using their bandwidth as well to deliver the course. What I like about the Teachable was you can segment your learners or your students into groups. So you'll have the ones that are actually learning and the ones who are sort of trying to learn, the ones who don't care. So you can actually qualify your students. I quite like that. They also have some marketing tutorials, tools, but again, you are going to have to market your course. So They will just provide the platform, give you some advice, give you some ideas, but you actually have to market the course. So there you've got your paid with a share of revenue. And of course, the more features that you want, the higher subscription. Their business model, of course, is, as I said, just to provide the platform and take a monthly fee. But again, I agree, they can actually, you're not really in control, because again, they could shut down tomorrow, like I had with Fedora. And you don't own the domain, of course, unless you go to a higher pay. So that was the paid platform. That was model number 2. Now, the one I've settled on, because I'm a bit of a control freak, is the controlled option, which is an online business. So my courses I actually treat as a pure online business. And in this way, they have their own domain. It's my intellectual property. I have control of it. I have control of the price. I have control of who can see it, who can't see it. And quite frankly, it was actually quite easy to set up. Over these 12 years that I've been on the internet, I've sort of know how to build websites. I know how to do social media. I've actually just been on one massive learning curve. So I'm fortunate in that I can play. And quite frankly, you've got some lovely themes which can build the web pages for your courses, which could be Optimized Press, which I use, or Thrive Architect. I go between the two. Then I use Digital Access Press, which is PASS, which is DAP, to deliver the course, to lock it down, to actually drip feed it. It has affiliate programs. It's a phenomenal software program purely for membership sites. And then all my courses and my content sits with Amazon S3, and I use their bandwidth to download the videos, but they're all sitting on my own hosting, but I'm not using up my bandwidth. I can control the pricing. Literally I have PayPal taking all the money, so all I'm paying is really the transaction fee with PayPal. And at the end of the day, I'm building an asset, because I've always believed in business that you build this asset as a business, as an asset that somebody wants in the end. And I remember building a fantastic women's golf website that somebody really, really wanted, and I eventually sold it. But I'm just saying it was a fantastic asset. And that is what I'm doing now, is if I've got to market the course and I know how to market, I may as well have total control of it. And that's where I'm going. And I was run a very, very good masterminds course for business owners, solopreneurs over 10 years. And that was offline. So I've decided that model, I'm actually going to be opening a Facebook group, which will probably go live in November. Also very selective and on the same model as I had with that masterminds group. So yes, again, and I'm on LinkedIn, so I'll probably pull through members through that way, and then they'll also have access to my courses. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, that's a good summary of different options that you've gone through and that other people could look at too. I agree with you that it's always best to have something on your own platform, but that doesn't exclude using the others too in the ways that they can help you, right?
And particularly if you're a new person, I would advise going the route of the paid platform, or the Thinkific. I think every month I get some platform or somebody who has a platform asking me if I want to put their courses on, please. So you've got Teachable, you've got Simpliv, you've got Thinkific, you name them, they're all just coming up like mushrooms.
Yeah.
And I think some of them are really, really good. And I think people who are really just wanting to get going should actually try those. Try the free version, and then as they grow, start upgrading. That would be my advice.
I see George is nodding, and I agree with you too. Yeah, it is interesting to see as the focus is going so much towards doing online courses that even companies that have in the past been more of a content management system or membership focus, they're now all talking about how you can do online courses through their platform, because that's what people want to hear about. So,
but Susan, even your Harvards, your universities are actually putting their courses online now.
Many of them are. That's true. Yeah, that's an interesting
and you
thing.
can actually get your degree online.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. That's been going on for quite a few years now, actually. And I don't want to take too much time on this, but the other thing related with universities too is that many of them are using a model now, which I first heard talked about maybe 10 or 15 years ago, that they have the students do some of the work on an online course before they come to the lecture. And then they can use the lecture time more for questions and discussion rather than for the teacher telling the students everything they need to learn, because the research shows that they don't learn as much that way, that having them do the study themselves first before the lecture, they actually learn more. So it's interesting to see the different ways people are experimenting with it. All right. Well, thank you, Fran. If you want to go ahead and mute yourself, let's talk to Dr. Sue. And I know Sue has some tales to tell about different platforms, one that I was helping her with, but also a really interesting approach to how she's marketing her course. So take it away, Sue.
Yes, but I have a question back to Fran. She mentioned it looks like that you're holding everything under one umbrella of a membership site, and that's how you're delivering what membership
correct
platform.
If you go to if you're on franpiggott.com, you'll say learn with me, and then all my courses are going on there. And then and then I just use the Optimized Press to build courses into the pages. Then I use DAP to deliver them, and the content is all sitting at Amazon S3. So it's nice. Everything is secure. Everything is locked down. The security is very tight. And then I can drip feed, and I like to do the courses. My courses are normally five modules. And the reason why is I can let them through over the 5 weeks, but I let them through one at a time, because the people have got to go and do some work before I wanted them to take them onto the module 2, for instance, module 3. But also, just as a tip, maybe some people would like to know this, is you give a 30-day guarantee. So obviously, you won't get a refund once they're into week 5, because that is beyond the 30 days. And if they don't like you after the first week, they're going to ask for a refund. So I haven't had, touch wood, any refunds. And I think as long as you're giving them value, you're fine. But yes, I control it. They're under one. They're under my domain.
I actually want to talk a little bit more about that after we're done here, but let's hear from you, Sue, and then we can get back into discussing the pros and cons of the different methods. But
okay, well, I'm what I was trying to do is I'm trying to reach more athletes, and to do that, if I'm coaching one-on-one, just like either of these two women, you can only reach so many people, and then it's very isolated. And so I'm looking for more the experience-based type of model. So how can I actually help them to get these athletes to be able to use the material of mental game training that I'm trying to teach them? So I want to be able to bring the parent in so they know what's going on, and then they can, with a lot of this, they can help their child, especially the younger child, to learn about this. And mainly with them, it's more of a discussion type of thing, asking them questions about, if they're putting too much pressure on their child themselves, or if others are, or, just how can they help support their child? What can they do, go into competitions, and what should they not do? If they're putting too much pressure on them, that type of thing. So I need to have that rapport with the parents, but the material's not for the parents, but they've got to be on board.
So before you continue, can you move your mic down away from your mouth a little bit? We're getting a little bit of popping. That should be good.
Okay, how's that?
A little too far, but
okay, how's that?
Great.
Okay, yeah, you can stop me in the middle, just wave. Okay, is that any better?
That's much better.
Okay, and so then the other problem is I need to have the coach on board. The child can't be learning this mental game training if they can't bring it into the gym and use it. And that's where I really want the experience base to be. It can't just be that they read it and then it's automatically there because they read it and they were told about it. Just like both these women were saying, they've got to do the work. You've got to see some results. You've got to see some progress, or at least they're going through the material and hopefully they're learning it and applying it. But some of these you don't actually know. So I'm trying to get that in, but I need to bring the coach in also as into what's going on so that they can help facilitate, what the child is learning, which overall will make competition a lot more enjoyable, a lot more fun, but they'll be, more competitive and they're going to compete well, and, they'll have more wins, and so will the coach on the other end. Everybody, it's a win for everybody. So taking this from a offline to an online was getting a little difficult because this goes in progression. Just like what Fran was saying, you're going to get one, aspect after they've completed one thing. So I definitely had to have a dripped out type of program, but my program also can go on for 2 years. So that's very difficult model. So the only model that will accompany that is a type of a membership program. So I'm actually starting with a smaller, kind of like what Georgia was saying, and a course that's set for so many weeks that they will take, and that will be their foundation for anything future that they do. Hopefully they'll stay in the program, but at least they're going to get that foundation before they're able to go on to anything else. So I'm staggering out, but they will always have a drip fed type of program. And so in doing this, yes, I started going through all the platforms, and I think a lot of us have, trying them out because they do have free versions. So that's good. And I even bought some platforms to have on my own site. And some of them I could do a reasonable job with, but there was a, large learning curve. But then they couldn't do certain things. Some didn't drip. I did not know that because some of them they'll drip feed. So you can choose the time. It could, by drip feed, in case people don't know, I put mine out to deliver once a week. And then I can see their progress because of the platform I'm using, or even some of the ones that are on your own site, so that I can tell whether they're actually going through the material. And so you need to know that from your students, and especially if they're having troubles, then you at least you can go back to where they were. So I needed drip fed, and not a lot of them do that. And on a lot of the Thinkifics and Teachable, Coursecraft, some of those, you do get into the paid versions if you're going to drip feed. The free versions, I don't know of any of them that do that. So that was critical for me to release information once a week.
Yeah, and I know we had looked, Sue, first at putting it on a WordPress site for you with a couple of different WordPress course platforms, and they did not allow drip feeding either. So.
Right. And I think that that's one thing that Fran mentioned was, because I am a beginner at this, into, delivering, online programs and courses. Like she said, some of these are not for the beginners coming in. What she's doing, like I said, you helped me try to tackle one of these programs, and it was a little challenging for you to set up. Well, not for you because you're the expert, but there was no way, I was having to go outside to get an expert to set it up. And then I didn't think that I could maintain it. I could not. There were little things popping up that I didn't know how to do, which means I would have to still go out. Now, Fran looks like she's experienced enough, like she said, and she's used to setting up her own website. So she's got a lot of technology savvy behind her. And Fran, you can jump in here if you want to. But yeah, for me being a beginner, that was not that I won't go back to that eventually. But yeah, I need to start in a platform that kind of has it all laid out for me.
Well, and even for
Sue, do me a favor. Can I speak to Sue?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Sue, do me a favor. Go and check out Thrive Architect. You don't need to be a techie at all as the theme. Go and check out Digital Access Pass. They do everything for you, and you have all these plugins for progress bars and so on, so you can see how your students are doing. And then you just stick all your content, so you lock it all up in Amazon S3. You really don't have to be a techie for this. But just listening to you, I would love your model, because you have got so many topics that you could actually make small courses for. You can you could do one for the parents, you can do one for the mindset of the coach. You could have all of these and also in sequences. Yeah. So you buy this and you get the next one and you get the next one. And at the end of the day, I would have you being videoed yourself. So you're doing that demo, you've got case studies. This is how you're going to do your teaching, if you don't mind me saying. But your model is so exciting. I just find it amazing. Yeah. And you will have so much content and to play with, but don't try and lump it all together. Just break it into little chunks. And if it's for the parents, focus on the parents. If it's for the kids, focus on the kids. But literally, video yourself. People want reality. They want to actually see you doing it. And then you'd say, well, now this is how you do it. And you demo it slowly and then faster and faster. But at the end of the day, I just love your model. I really, really do. And yes, Digital Access Pass would drip it for you every week. It's an amazing, amazing program. And it's just being updated, modernized from when they started.
Well, great. That sounds great, because like I said, I was taking notes. That's why I came back and said, now what was one of those platforms you said? Because I didn't quite get it down.
There's 3. All you got to remember, or you can do Optimize Press, but I think the more modern one, the easier one is Thrive Architect, Digital Access Pass, and then Amazon S3, right. AWS S3. That's it. If you know all those 3, you're fine.
Okay. Well, that's good to look at, because right now, like Susan knows, I started setting things up in a platform
to use LearnDash and just got really overwhelmed with it. But
what platform was it?
LearnDash.
I'm sorry.
It's a LearnDash. It's a WordPress based. It's really more of an LMS, a learning management system. It's quite complex and.
Well, I was going to play.
Really stuck. Yeah, Georgia, I noticed you wanted to make a comment too.
Yeah, I wanted to play devil's advocate for a minute with DAP, Digital Access Pass.
Okay.
Sue, if you remember when we did the summit back in January, it was DAP, or Digital Access Pass, that we were using. And you remember some of the issues that we had with that and doing the summit. I found DAP to be very complicated. In fact, I had my own virtual assistant go in there, and she had experience with DAP, and she had trouble. We called in Ellen Finkelstein. I think you mentioned Ellen earlier, Susan, and she's a Microsoft ambassador. She knows this stuff really well, the technical stuff. She got her virtual assistant to go into DAP and try to figure out some of the issues. And with the 4 of us, we still didn't get the issue resolved, even though the woman who created DAP is very, very nice, and she did her best to help too. But I think we've all said the same thing, that there's issues with each of these programs, right? And you got to find the one that works for you. I think that's most important. One that we didn't name, which is really basic and very simple, is called Gumroad, Gumroad, Gumroad. So that's another one for people who's starting out. Though I don't think Dr. Sue you're not really starting out. You have some experience with this stuff, and so it may or may not meet your needs. But I think, what people are saying about how, when you're first starting out, get the free versions, try out different platforms, see what works for you. And I think all of these that have been named, I've tried, or my virtual assistants have had experience with and tried. I tend not to do any of the technical stuff myself. I hire people to do that. That's not my forte. So I get people to do that. So I just wanted to mention that about DAP, because I have issues with DAP.
Well, if you
I appreciate it, and I know, because I was on that summit with Georgia doing that, and I didn't know the behind the scenes on that, but yeah, I didn't know the platform. Like you said, everything has some pros and cons to it. And Fran, you mentioned Teachable. That is one that I found that does do a lot of what I need, and I like the fact that you could email within the course to your course participants. They do have sales pages and opt-in pages also kind of built in. So
Sue, I think if we were looking at all of those, I would definitely recommend Teachable. I think since they were the fedoras and they've gone now into the Teachable, there's a huge shift into being more progressive, listening to the marketplace, doing exactly what they want. And the beauty of that is you can upgrade as you go along. You don't always have to have all the bells and whistles to start. And I honestly feel get used to playing with the free one and then progress. But the trouble is you've got to do it yourself. If you're going to bring in a virtual assistant, you're going to struggle, because at the end of the day, you need to know how to fix it quickly, and that was my frustration, is relying on other people. And then they were too busy and they didn't understand my urgency. So that's why I decided I'm doing it myself. But the other one, Optimize Press, has a membership site as well. So you may not want to use DAP, but you could use Optimize Press, their membership site. Go and have a look at that one as well.
Okay.
Yeah, Member. Isn't Member the membership site for Optimize Press for WordPress?
No, that's a different one altogether.
That's a different one?
Yes.
Before we get on to too much open discussion here, let's give Sue a few more minutes. I don't think you were finished, were you, Sue, with what you wanted to say?
Well, I was just going to say that how I was, handling my topic was to break it down, because there is so much material. So I've really tried to hone it down into, like you said, my 101 course, which unfortunately is 12 weeks right now. But again, that's like, I'm trying to get the kids through all the basics. And
you've got kids who are going every week to work with a coach at the gym, right? So I don't think there's any problem with having it be a 12-week course when you've got those kids committed week after week. So
right. They're already committed. And then but the rest of it, I am going to break down into 4-week modules, so that they still need to progress, but they can go from confidence to overcoming fears to, pre-competition, routines, those types of things. So there'll be a progression, but I am then going to break it down into bite-sized chunks and something recognizable that they'll do all the way through. And yes, in Teachable, they are letting me set up. So beside the course for the young athletes, then there's a separate one for parents, and they have their course, and then there's the coaches, complimentary course. Like I said, I'm not training them or teaching them, although I have a course where coaches can learn this. That's totally separate. This is just the support program for the athletes. So to bring them in. So I am able on Teachable to have all 3 running at the same time. And so far, I'm able to do it all myself. So I do like that aspect of it so far.
Great. And yeah, I agree with what Fran said. When you and I were talking last spring, Sue, I was so impressed by that model that you're using to get your students into that course. It's something that I told Sue this phrase that I had learned from my sales coach, which was the idea of a person of influence. He called it your POI. So you're always looking for people who can be POIs for you, who they have your audience. And so if you can work with them to create some kind of a relationship, so the coaches and the gym owners have your audience. And so it's great that you're offering the complimentary course for the coaches, and you're working through the gyms to get that course to the students. So I think that's great. Let's have a few minutes of discussion here. One issue that I want to raise, I understand the appeal of using a membership platform. It's something that's out there. There are lots of ways to do it. People are familiar with it. But I just want to mention my background is really more from the training perspective. And so I know there are things that a course platform, a good course platform, can offer that a membership platform doesn't offer. Like Sue just mentioned, the idea of these little 4-week courses that the students are going to take, and that they're going to be taking a whole series of them. There are course platforms that can offer, the term that's often used is badges, so that they can, the students, and especially when you're working with young people, I think that's a big incentive. They can go in and see how many badges do they have, for how many courses have they completed, you know. The ways to set up resource material connected with a course video, and just different things that are more easily built into a course platform, I think, compared to having to recreate all of that in a membership software that isn't necessarily designed for that. So anybody have any thoughts on that?
I did look into gamification, and that was, and one of the platforms I did buy had that. That's why I did it, but it wouldn't drip my material. And that was just a deal breaker. And I did not know that till I was, past my 30 days to return the platform. So unfortunately, it's sitting there. But I'm not able, I haven't figured out a way to get to do some type of a badges, or something like that, that I would like to bring in just for that extra incentive and to earn something and to go through. And I'm not sure how to do it in the platform that I'm in right now, or what I can, I can always deliver things separately. So they'll get a certificate for their first, accomplishment. And right now, all that's built in is that they have progress charts, which, like I said, it would be great to get more, like I said, and we'd be, love to hear more from you about this topic, also about how we can bring in this type of thing into our courses.
Yeah, and actually you mentioned, I think some people do think of badges as gamification, I guess, but from my perspective, working with corporate training, but gamification really is about making activities that people can do to learn the topic rather than just reading or watching a video. It's more about interactive training. And I haven't really seen any platforms in the internet marketing space that are very interactive like that. I mean, often people say something's interactive, but really all it means is that people have to click a button to start the video. That's not what I call interactive. So, all right. Well, I don't want to take too much time today to talk about how to create the course, and that's really where my expertise is. I'll do another episode about that. But what questions or comments do any of you have about what your fellow panelists have said? We've got about 5 or 6 minutes yet. So
I think, Susan, what I've always done is when I see something that I want to actually include in my course, you talk of the badges. It all comes down to plugins. And that's why I love WordPress, because somebody is making that plugin. And literally, if I want to actually add anything to my course that nobody else is giving me, I just go and actually look for it. I Google it, and I literally find it, and then I bring it into WordPress and use the keywords to see how, and then all of a sudden it's there. And I'm pretty sure, Sue, that you'll find that whatever you're doing, look, it's easy for me because I'm building my own site, but why not ask Teachable, if that's where you're going, to please provide that facility? Because I love the idea of where you're coming from is it's competitive, and it's like the Scouts. They love to have every single badge that they can put on themselves. And the more badges they can win, it against the next person, it's motivation, huge motivation. So yeah, so ask Teachable, and then WordPress will have, I'm pretty sure they'll have badges. I'll go and look for them. I'll go and look for a plugin.
all right, Georgia, you're muted. So
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're all speaking the same language, that if you're a beginner, if you're watching this and you're trying to figure out how you would deliver your course, that there's lots and lots of ways, and that, try out some of the the free versions in the beginning to see what works for you. I think that's the biggest takeaway for me. And that, as you grow your business and you have more return on your investment in your courses, that you can then expend that for a paid version for a course platform. And also not to forget about Facebook Live. I mean, you can get started for absolutely free by doing a social learning Facebook group, and you've got lots of ways to market your business with Facebook. And then also I've been hearing, I don't know if anybody here could speak to this, but I've heard that people are starting to create their own apps for their courses. So like in my business, there would be a Be Boldly Brilliant app that people could download, purchase for the course and deliver the courses that way. And so, Sue, that might be something to investigate for you also, because kids are going to love to use an app. In fact, someone had just said this week that our real competitors are not the people around us. It's really gamification and apps. That's our real competitors in terms of our courses creating and building. So I just throw that out as if anybody's got thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's what's taking people's attention, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen quite a bit about that, about the apps, but it seems to be people are looking at them differently than maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I would see people offer, you can design your own app, but now I'm seeing it's like the apps don't do anything other than to be from your brand, so I don't quite understand yet how that works. So something I'll have to explore. Georgia, you mentioned doing a free course with the social learning in Facebook, and I think that's a great idea too. And I just put a plug out there for, if you want to find out if there's interest in a particular topic, to do a course, excuse me, one way that I've tried that is just doing a free email course where you send out a lesson every 3 or 4 days and maybe have a series of 4 or 5 lessons and see how people respond to that, to see whether there's enough interest to build it out into a bigger course.
Yeah. And also using a poll, in your Facebook groups to find out, or through your email system to find out, what do people want to learn? For me, I have 2 businesses. I didn't talk much about Zingevity, my bread and butter business, which is a brain fitness program. And that particular business, that people are looking to, I've been at this for 9 years now, right? So every course I can possibly think of, I've probably taught to the Zingevity teachers. And so I have to constantly poll them to ask them, what would you like next? What do you need to learn? And sometimes it's stuff from 4 years ago or 9 years ago, but it's okay, because then I can refresh the topic. But I need to hear from my folks, what do they want? What are they looking for? And I think that's an important key too in designing a course, is to be sure to poll your community and find out what they need or want.
Absolutely. All right. Well,
can I just add there? I agree
really
with
quick.
Yeah, Georgie, I agree with you fully. A lot of courses fail because the people put up something that they think the market needs, not what the market wants. And you're polling people, but you can also go into things like Quora, ask and find out, is there, or even in the groups and LinkedIn, to see what are people asking. And if you're putting in your keyword of where your topic is, your niche is, you'll soon get a pattern. And all you've got to do is provide a course with a solution to what they're all asking.
That's great too. Yes. Thank you so much, Fran. And thank you to all of our guests. It is time for us to wrap up here. I just want to show you the contact information for each of our guests. If you want to get in touch with Fran, there's her website. Dr. Sue Massimo, you can reach at Gymnastics Psychology or email her. And I will ask them all to put a comment underneath the video as soon as we end here, so you don't have to get this all written down. Georgia Lee London, you can reach by email. And I am thinking about putting together a longer course or coaching program, maybe to help people developing their courses. So if you have any interest in that, you can email me at coursehelp@presentationswithresults.com. And then we'll see what kind of interest there is. Thank you so much for watching Creative Marketing TV. And please do look for the contact information below the video and leave a comment or question. I'm always happy to hear from my viewers and to hear what you'd be interested in seeing a show about next time. Thank you again, and thank you to my guests.